Hello and welcome everyone. We have a new record for Nvidia target price from Eric Jackson from EMG Capital. He is predicting that Nvidia, if everything is going according to plan in the reviews of August and November, that Nvidia by the end of the year will double in price. So we have a new target price of 250. Now, if you've seen our previous video, our kind of price target was 160, and now we're almost feel like we're bearish in this whole prediction market because everyone's predicting 200 now. Eric Jackson is predicting 250, and this is based on the huge demand for Nvidia H100 and H200 chips we are seeing right now. So in today's video, we're going to talk about this demand. We're going to talk about some really weird developments of where Nvidia's chips are going and how they are being sold, and why actually Eric Jackson's prediction may well be in place by the end of the year. Let's start with one of the probably most bullish indicators, and this is not coming from one of the analysts or from the management of the company buying stock. This is actually coming from Nancy Pelosi. Yes, the congresswoman. Actually, during last couple of years, there were many cases of congressmen and congresswomen buying and selling individual stocks. And how do we know that? They have to fill a special form with the SEC 30 days from the day they're actually making the action. So buying or selling the certain stock. And that's how we kind of can take a look at their portfolio and see how it performs. And the performance of some of them is absolutely insane. I mean, in 2023, S&P made about 25%, 24.8%. And if we look at the portfolio performance of some of the congressmen, it's absolutely insane. Like, I don't know who this Brian Higgins and Mark Green people are, but performance of their portfolio is in triple digits, and Brian Higgins has more than 200%. I mean, these are numbers that can make Warren Buffett weep. Now, Nancy Pelosi is also there. Her performance of her portfolio was about 65% in 2023, and these 60% is something that she did also in 2020 when she did 69%, sparking the infamous tweet suggesting that she's a better investor than Jim Simmons, Warren Buffett, and pretty much everyone on the street. If you like this video, press a like button and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us growing. I'm not here to blame anyone or kind of suggest that she uses some proprietary information to make those trades, although there were a couple of very questionable cases. For example, in June 2021, Paul Pelosi, Nancy's husband, exercised 40 call options of Alphabet only days before the vote of House Judiciary Committee on the number of antitrust efforts aimed at the big firms. And these big firms which were affected by these votes were Amazon, Apple, and yeah, you guessed it, Alphabet. So just days before this vote, he exercised his call options, which brought him about $5 million. Now, the timing is very much questionable, but again, I don't have any proof for anything. I'm not here to blame anyone, but I know that if people like, for example, Nancy Pelosi, make a huge buy into some stock, I'm taking a notice and kind of seeing if I can incorporate this into my portfolio. And just recently, Nancy Pelosi bought $1.2 million worth of Nvidia stocks. She also bought, by the way, Broadcom call options and sold Tesla and Visa. By the way, she sold Tesla like a couple of days before Tesla went 20% up. So these news can be related to the latest report from SoftBank. And the latest news from SoftBank is that the SoftBank is going to set up a company which will go and buy a bunch of Nvidia GPUs. SoftBank is Japanese investment company, and of course they're not trying to be a new cloud service provider or become a new AWS. I think what SoftBank is trying to do is kind of invest in these chips, but the only reason of why to invest in these chips are to resell them or to lease them. So there could be a possibility that we're going to see a secondary market for Nvidia GPUs, and it's kind of half official secondary market if such a big company is actually trying to buy these chips. Speaking of huge demand for Nvidia chips, apparently Nvidia is about to sell for $12 billion this year to China. Quick reminder to everyone, in October 2022, Nvidia was banned selling its H100 chips to China, but instead of that, they were allowed to sell its less powerful H20s chips. Now, a couple of interesting points here. First of all, H20s are less powerful than Huawei chip, which the Chinese companies have access to, but H20s are much more popular right now in China. And here you can see why Nvidia is so profitable. Chinese companies having access to more powerful, less costly chips, to Huawei chips, are still buying Nvidia H20s. And this is because most of Chinese companies have built their AI models based on Nvidia's ecosystem and software. The main selling point why Nvidia is making such a sticky product is because they're not only making a hardware, they're also making a software. When and if Nvidia will get its access to China, its revenues and its sales will skyrocket, because right now Nvidia's share of revenue from China is about 9%. A couple of years ago it was 22%. If the trading war between China and US will end this year or next year or whatever, Nvidia's share will skyrocket. One more interesting piece of news is from Ben Reitzer from Milius Research. They published a paper where they are addressing the Nvidia's profitability in the upcoming years, and they are talking about this full stack approach that Nvidia is selling hardware and software as well, which makes the sales of Nvidia extremely sticky. And they are predicting that Nvidia cash flow will bring about $270 billion to Nvidia in the next 3 years. This is, by the way, despite their target price for Nvidia being about 160, so pretty much what we are expecting. So they're not the most bullish, kind of unreasonably bullish company on the street. They're predicting 160, but they are saying that based on their models, Nvidia will bring about $250 billion in the next 3 years. And they are debating what Nvidia is going to do with all of this money. You cannot invest all of this in R&D because the return on investment will be extremely low. You're just burning money. And well, you cannot buy any big companies. Not that you can go and buy AMD, for example, because the antitrust laws in US will never allow it. So the only thing which Nvidia can do is actually either buy back their shares, and this is what they did last year when they announced $25 billion worth of share buybacks, or they just can go and give the money back to stockholders by issuing a new dividend. But Nvidia actually already boosted its quarterly dividend by about 150%. It doesn't really matter which way they will go, but the expectation is in the next 3 years the company itself will help stock price to go up and up and up. So good news for all of the Nvidia's investors. We are keeping a watch on the latest news, and we will do more videos on the Nvidia news. For now, that's all. Thank you very much for your time, and take care.